Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. My name is Marty Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. Check that page out. The website and on the landing page is a free ebook, 3 Steps to Reprogramming Your Negative Self-Talk. I've been hearing over the time I've been doing this, people say, I printed that and I read it and it reminds me over and over, and just makes me really grateful that it's still valuable after a couple of years of having it out there. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out, print it out. I think it's 4 days. 4 days. It's 4 pages, not 4 days. Might take 4 days to implement some of it. How about that? It's a user-friendly tool. That's how I'll say that. Probably in March, I will be starting. I'm gonna have to look at the calendar and get that out there. I keep talking about it. The 6-week course. It's 1 hour per week. Usually Saturday mornings is the day that I have found works best for 6 weeks. And if it works out, it's consecutive. If there's any holidays, it goes a little longer, but there's 6 1-hour sessions, and I call it love work in between. And it's an amazing, transformative course to begin that relationship with the inner child and help and also start to reprogram or continue reprogramming. Some of us are already on this journey of reprogramming our brain and our programming that we've developed since we were children. It starts when we're kids. So today I am speaking to everything in life is choice. And we are 100% responsible for our choices. I started a course. Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he has a Train the Trainer, it's called. And the very first principle of his success principles is being 100% responsible for everything that happens in your life. And I know the concept, I know it well, and implementing it it's considerable. It's a big thing. And it's really working on shifting to even believe or to know that we are 100% responsible for our choices in our life. And all that means, it's a big deal. It means that we are 100% responsible for our choices and how we respond or react. It also means I give up, if I practice it all the time, I give up complaining and blaming. And I was talking about in one of the emails about being a victim, the victim mentality and how subtle it is. And even my own self, I find I have a client who lives in these $1 million homes over in Loomis, and I saw her yesterday, and I had that little thought sneak through my brain. Oh, it must be nice. Like, wow, it is nice. Of course it's nice. I haven't created my life to be a millionaire. She has. And so as a result, she has a different lifestyle. It is nice. Of course it's nice if that's what I want. But I haven't created that for myself yet. But the thought comes out of an old belief that was programmed when I was a kid, and many of us have this from our parenting, whatever your parents showed you or taught you about money. It's the root of all evil. I still hear my mom will say this sometimes, nobody should have that much money. What the hell are they going to do with all that money? It doesn't matter to you. Because in somebody else's view, looking at my mom and her lifestyle, they might think she has a lot of money. It's relative. But the point is, there's a belief that got created in my makeup. That's a real easy example that most of us can relate to. So that's why I'm using the money factor. It plays in everywhere. So, if we look at our relationship to money, it's our relationship with everything. We don't always see it that way. But the belief comes from nobody should have that much money. Nobody deserves to have that much money, right? But they've worked hard, they've earned it, They've done whatever they created in their world to earn and be a millionaire. My victim thought, it must be nice. Do you hear the like, oh, it must be nice that you get to do that and I don't. I get to be responsible. Here's where I get to be 100% responsible for creating my life. I haven't created my life, let's say yet, to be a millionaire. I can determine if I want to and choose something else. We get stuck in what we hear in our culture, what we've been taught as children, whether it was verbalized or just shown to us. And we get caught in that. And then that's what we learn. And until we realize or look at, is it working and can I do something different, we don't know anything different. We just keep doing the same thing. Until someday, one day, maybe we see a book title, maybe we hear a comment, maybe we hear or read something that we go, oh, it's my choice. I could change something about me and my view. Well, how do I do that? And what does that take? Many people may know there's choices out there. They may know they could change it, but do they want to? And are they willing to? What does it take to do that? It takes something for us to make those changes. And I've been on this road for over 20 years, and it's practicing. It's constantly practicing and implementing the tools that work, constantly learning new tools to continue to peel the layers of the deeper layers of the programming, because they can become real subtle. Because that thought just floated through my mind yesterday, and I thought, well, it's still there. I think I've dealt with it. I think it's not an issue anymore, but I still have a judgment about how somebody else lives their life, which keeps me in that victim place, or blame, or complain. I could complain about it, but what am I willing to do about it? So the key is to look, shine the light, right, in our brain, shine the light in our thoughts, look at our beliefs, and become willing. Sometimes I hear it sometimes from people who will say, pray for the willingness to be willing. Right? It seems so simple, but sometimes we think we're willing, and really we want it, or I want to be willing. But my actions will show something else, even though I'm talking about it. So that's where learning how to match our words and our actions. So if I'm complaining about something, I know there's something better. I know there's something different I might prefer. Whatever the complaint is, if it's about my family, if it's about the government, if it's about my money situation, or something that my husband does or doesn't do, if I'm complaining about that, I've given my power away because I'm taking no responsibility. And B, I'm not willing to do anything about it because I'm more committed to my complaining than being in the solution. And C, I'm just not looking. I'm living into my habits, and I'm continuing to recreate the same thing over and over. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So this is us becoming mindful. When I hear myself blaming or complaining, I blame my parents for years for how my life turned out and my choices. Well, they raised me, yes. Do I have habits and beliefs and patterns from them? Yes. I'm an adult now. I get to be responsible today. So there came a point where I stopped blaming them for my life today and decided to do something to have it be different. And it takes courage. It takes courage, and it takes us being willing to take a risk, to look at our behaviors and our actions and our words Are they working? Ask yourself, are they working? Are they effective? Do they make me feel good? Do they make you feel good? Ask yourself those kinds of questions. What's the belief behind my complaint that you were talking about last week, there's somebody slept on the floor with their puppy for 3 days. Like, what's the belief and why should they do anything different? That's their choice, right? None of my business. I just remembered that right now. So, and I loved your expression about it, so I had to share it again. But it's their choice. What's my belief behind that? It doesn't really matter. That's what they want to do. That's what they believe is going to help this baby be okay and be comfortable. But I have some belief behind it that they should do something different. Until you didn't. I know you changed that. So it's, it takes something for us to look at our behavior and our words and our thoughts to shine a light and go, is this really working? How does it make me feel? Is it heavy thoughts? Are they heavy thoughts? When I'm complaining and I'm blaming and I'm looking outside of me for things to make me happy on the inside, those are real heavy. Just the energy of them are heavy, right? So it's just not a right or wrong. It's just how does it feel? And when I'm in the really looking and discovering does it work and how can I do something different? And if I don't know how to do something different, let me go find out. Or let me just do something different. Do anything different. It's not working the way it is, do something different. And if that doesn't work, do something else different. We learn quickly when we're open to it. We'll learn quickly whether it's working or not. When I went on this trip to Hawaii, that's what brought up for me again, the trip to Hawaii, where I just, I love my family, but I don't always like their behaviors. And I knew going that I might be challenged. And I had lots of opportunities to look and to grow and to experience this. And even knowing this, I still got really angry on the first day in Hawaii. Because I chose to not be responsible and say something. I chose that. I kept my mouth shut. When I knew that we needed to turn around before we got too far on this 4-hour drive, that we couldn't. Now I'm mad at him and I'm blaming him because he's driving and he didn't turn around. Didn't he know? Couldn't he read my mind? Why didn't he listen to my thoughts? He knew, right? So this is a whole bullshit that goes on in my head. Well, maybe he didn't know. Maybe he liked the drive. Maybe he thought it was beautiful. And here I am just mad because he's in control and I'm not. Well, that's a lie. My responsibility was to say something. Now, whether or not it changed the situation, immaterial. The fact is I didn't take responsibility for my place in it. That was part of my programming growing up. I used to hear my mom say it. Well, they should just know because that's what I would do, or that's what I do. Well, if you're always doing it, why would they know? Why would they step up and do what you do when you always do it? Until you get out of their way, they're not going to step up. But I would hear her say that. They should just know. Your dad should just know that I want him to set the table for dinner because I've done it my whole life. And I would laugh. I go, really? Have you told him that, Mom? She'd be like, well, no, he should just know. People can't read our minds. They don't know if we don't express it. There's a place of being discerning about where I want to express it. And on the drive, yes, it would have been appropriate to say, I think we should turn around now. We're going to get too far in here and not have a choice. But we have to keep going because there's nowhere to turn around. But I didn't. right? So, and I got to tell you, I wanted to complain and I wanted to build a case and have others be mad with me because he was such a turd, because he didn't read my mind. It took a lot of discipline for me to not give that a bunch of energy and talk about it to everyone. And this is where I'm changing those habits, because that's how I grew up, is complaining, criticizing. So I know that it's very much a default behavior. It's very comfortable there because I've done that my whole life. And I suspect many of us do that. So I know. So to start changing it and make it be different, it takes practice and it takes discipline and it takes commitment. I can't tell you how many times I stepped on my tongue really hard to not say anything about it, because I didn't want to put the energy into it, because there was nothing going to change it. So going forward, I get to look and go, did that work? It didn't work for me to not say anything. Whether it changed the outcome, I don't know. But for the next time going forward, if I'm ever in a situation like that again, I get to change the behavior. I get to do something different and speak up. Because that's my responsibility. And again, whether it changes the outcome, I don't know. But if I never say anything, I'll never know. And that takes courage also, to speak up and speak our truth or our intuition, because that was intuitive for me. It was an intuitive thought. I knew that we were not going to be able to turn around at some point. And I said nothing. Because the other belief is that my intuition is not valid. It's not trustworthy. And I know logically that's a lie, but I've learned that my whole life, whether it was spoken or not. So for us to learn to trust that piece and be responsible, again, it takes courage. It takes us being willing to risk what somebody might think or what someone might judge us about or say about. I get to turn it back to me, and you get to turn it back to you. It's about me and you being 100% responsible for the choices we make and our view of the world. When I take responsibility for my own part, I'm complete and I'm clean in my own integrity. Doesn't mean I go around, blurting out to everyone whatever I'm thinking, or, I use discernment about it, about where to speak it, when to speak it. Sometimes that's a prayer. Okay, Spirit, am I supposed to say something here? Because sometimes I just don't know because of the belief that's still there. Sometimes I'll do that. And if there's an opportunity that I need to speak, then it presents itself. That's always worked for me. Well, that's probably not always worked, but I'm paying attention more, so I can see it more. I'll just wrap it up with be mindful of where you're blaming and when you complain. Decide if it's working, and if it's not, look at what you want to do different. And is the belief and the behavior serving you? And if it's not, what can I do different? And I'll stop there. Thoughts, feelings, feedback?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said any thoughts, feelings, feedback, aha moment?
Yeah, I do mention things when I feel I need to, but I get negative feedback sometimes when I do it, like that was a stupid comment. Of course I know what I'm doing. And
So
it's
unsolicited.
it's like belittling what I just said because of my own intuition.
Aha.
And of course that pisses me off.
Right. So there's the practice of.
Then I just clam up and say, okay, let the chips fall where they may.
Yes. So maybe for you, looking at, what is your belief behind it, and why are you taking it personal? Because it's not really about you.
But I guess it's the way. I guess when I do that, the other person takes offense that maybe I'm belittling them when I.
Maybe. That's good insight.
Pardon?
Well, maybe you preface it with. Sometimes I'll preface those things with, "Can I share something with you?" or "Can I offer something?"
Yeah,
rather than just speaking. Is that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
I'll preface it sometimes with a question, so then you have permission to offer whatever you're going to say. Because our families they already have a way that they hear us.
Oh yeah.
And so they're always listening for that, even if you are right. Maybe they're mad that you're right. Who knows? But they have a way that they're always listening.
Yeah.
And even though you're becoming different, they don't see that quite yet.
True.
Yeah. So they're hearing you how they always hear you, even when you're different.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Kim?
Being mindful of where you're going to complain, they can't read your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think, like, why didn't you do that? But you're
right.
They don't know. I do have to speak up and tell them, in a nice way, like, can you do this, instead of just assuming they would know. Because we all know what assuming does.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Thank you for being here this morning. I appreciate you and your feedback.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
And yes, feel free if you have anything, and this is for anyone listening to the recording, if you ever have anything that is specifically that you'd like to hear more about, you can email me, text me, private message me, post it on Facebook. Just if you have something that's showing up in your world and you're like, I really need to hear something about that, just put it out there and I can address that.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. Have a great week.